It's almost 2025 and there are so many gacha games to play, but which ones should you play? Hey everyone, it's Rook, and as the title suggests, I'll be answering the question, should you play BrownDust 2 in 2025? The answer is yes, so those of you who just want that yes or no answer, there you go. But if you're interested in the why, I'll try to keep this video pretty concise. This video is going to be partially scripted compared to most of my videos, but I'll still try to keep it fairly casual, and I'll go off on my usual tangents as I, tend to do. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and start off with what exactly is BrownDust 2. BrownDust 2 is an action-adventure turn-based RPG, and it has a typical fantasy setting. It features your typical 2D models, but it also has these kind of pixelated chibi models. They're considered HD 2D by the Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy communities, if you're familiar with, either of those games. And it's definitely prevalent more so in the in-game battles and the traversal through the various maps. Now let's go ahead and move on to the designs, in specific the waifu designs. The game at this point is a waifu collector, which begins the first reason why you should play BrownDust 2. I'm going to let you guys know right now, if you're not a fan of massive fan surface designs with lots of skin showing on your female characters, this game is not meant for you. These are not your Hoyoverse designs like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. This is BrownDust 2, and many of the female characters here have extremely attractive and revealing designs. This year, the designers have really pushed this artistic choice of characters like Summer Eclipse and Bunny Lowen, just to name a couple. Personally, I'm not complaining. What I love about the designs in BrownDust 2 is you can kind of tell that designers are pushing their limit to still maintain the game's age rating while giving us these revealing designs. Most waifu collectors are too afraid to do this, but BrownDust 2 really pushes itself to give fans what they want, which is what I really appreciate from the developers. And yes, there are male characters in this game, but the developers have stated previously they have no intention on releasing any new ones, and that the game hasn't gotten a new male banner in over a year at this point. At this very present day, this game is a purely waifu collector. One of the main reasons you should be playing this game is to pull for the waifus that you like. Unfortunately, and this is one of the major drawbacks of the game, these male characters are still in the game. They're still in your standard pools, so even when you're trying to pull on a specific waifu banner, they'll probably end up sneaking into there, unfortunately, so you'll end up getting your male characters, which honestly, just ignore them. You don't even have to worry about them, especially since about 99% of them aren't even really that viable anymore, especially since they've kind of replaced them with, a female version or a female equivalent of that character. So it's not that much of an issue, but I will say that is one of my, slight, issues with the game. The fact that sometimes when I'm trying to get these waifu characters, I end up getting, a male character that I know I'll never use because I'm here to collect the, the female characters. Let's go ahead and talk about gameplay now. As I stated earlier, BrownDust 2 is a turn-based RPG. The games that best resemble its battle style would be Octopath Traveler or the Bravely Default games. The characters have their own classes. You have your DPS units, your buffers, your healers. Personally, I really enjoy the strategy elements of the gameplay. It's very different from most gacha games and often involves a lot of thinking in between turns, similar to Fire Emblem. Don't worry though, there is an auto battle feature present in the game. It helps make the game very fast paced, so you don't have to worry too much about being stuck in the battle for hours on end. They're very quick and it's honestly very enjoyable, so definitely a highlight of the gameplay. Now we'll move on to banners and pull rates. BrownDust 2 is probably one of, if not the most generous gacha game I've ever played. You're constantly given free pulls in the mail from the developers, and the pull rates aren't too bad at 1.5% for the specific banner unit and 3% for a 5-star unit. I know the pull rates may not seem the greatest just by looking at it straight up, but you must consider the fact that you're giving so many pull opportunities that it kind of counterbalances itself to the point where, yes, the pull rates aren't the highest. However, you're giving so many opportunities to pull for characters that, in a sense, you don't really realize how low the pull rates actually are. A single pull will only cost you 200 dia, and a multi consisting of 10 pulls will cost you about 2000 dia. Run draw ticket equates to about 1 pull. To pity, you need 200 pulls on that specific banner, which can be annoying as the pity does not transfer over to other banners. However, you can convert this pity into a powder, which can then be used in a shop for a rotating set of characters after each update. From my experience, unless you plan to be extremely competitive, you don't really need to go all out on these banners. If you are purely collecting, then you only really need 1 copy. If you're hoping to use a costume often, then you'll usually only need to get the costume from +1 to +3 depending on the unit. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, there is a free single daily pull for every banner. I've been able to pull copies of banner characters just through the daily pull. And what I mean by this is, let's say there are 4 banners going on right now. You're able to pull on each of those banners every single day at least once, which is pretty awesome. It definitely increases your opportunity to get the banner character. So I always really love this about BrownDust 2. Other games sometimes have free daily pulls during special events, but BrownDust 2's daily pulls happen the entire time all year long for every single banner, which is absolutely incredible. Now for story, I'll tell you guys right now, I don't play gacha games for story. I mostly play for the waifu designs and the fun gameplay. However, BrownDust 2 does have a very solid main story. It's a bit predictable, but it's still decently written. Now the event stories are what's very well written. There are some very emotional and comical scenes in these event stories. BrownDust 2 is differently structured in that the game is composed of multiple universes and realities. For most costumes we get from a single character, it's actually a different version of that character from a different universe. For example, Lifeguard Nebris, New Hire Nebris, and Labyrinth Nebris are technically 3 different versions of Nebris. These are not all the same character from the same exact universe, which I always find really interesting, but this allows the writers a lot of freedom in telling the story they want without having to be concerned about the constraints of the main story events. Of course, this wouldn't be a BrownDust 2 video without mentioning the character skill cutscenes. These animations are what really gain the game so much attention and love. Each costume has a special skill cutscene and a lot of them definitely push the limits. They're revealing and exciting, especially the ones released during the anniversary and summer events. BrownDust 2 animations are in a league that no gacha game is able to compete with from what I personally have seen. What's even better is the fact that you're able to set these skill animations as your main lobby screen. Once you open up the game, you're able to see them right then and there, which I think is an incredible experience, especially with how high quality they each individually are. In order to even set them up as your lobby screen, all you need to do is unlock one copy and pull one copy of that character. You don't need to pull multiple copies. You don't need an MLB. All you need is pull one of that costume. So let's say you want to go ahead and set up Office Nebris as your main lobby screen. You just need to pull one Office Nebris and you're set. You're good to go. You got New Hire Nebris as your main lobby screen, which it's a pretty funny sight to see for all these costumes. You know, Vanica, you know, Therese, Eclipse. There's so many incredibly well designed skill animations in this game. Then we have all the side content. BD2 has a bunch of challenge modes where you're able to craft the perfect team to grind for resources. My favorite new piece of content is the Gluppy Diner and Interaction mode. Here you play as a self-insert chef at a diner that serves as a connection between all the different realities. You're able to meet many of the characters you've pulled, and you can obtain daily resources by maintaining the diner and leveling it up. But the best part is how it leads to the Interaction mode. By completing an encounter storyline, you could build a bond and relationship with the characters and ultimately unlock their Interaction mode. Currently, Nebris is the only character available, but the devs have expressed plans for more coming soon. I believe the next ones will be Bunny Lowen and Bunny Morphe, so definitely look forward to that. I've already made an entire video taking an in-depth look at this, but it's generally one of the best pieces of content in any gacha game. Like any gacha game, even BrownDust 2 has some slight issues. First is the gear system. It's a bit complicated. I wish it was simplified slightly since you have to reroll for certain stats and refine gear in certain ways. I'm also not a fan of the character gear banners. They seem a bit unnecessary, and I only recommend pulling on these if you're very interested in being highly competitive in BrownDust 2. Banner pull rates at 1.5% isn't ideal, but I do understand that the devs give us so many pulls, so it does counterbalance this lower pull rate. I'm also not a fan of how male characters are still in these waifu banners. I enjoy their role in the story, but they can definitely be annoying when trying to roll for the female characters in this game. I went ahead and set this part of the video aside for me to go on my usual tangents and give you guys just my complete thoughts about BrownDust 2, you know, just off the top of my head. It's going to be non-scripted, of course. This is just completely casual. You know, what I love about BrownDust 2, and man, I don't even know where to start. I'll go ahead and start off with how I got into BrownDust 2. So I started playing BrownDust 2 back in the summer. So it's only been about 5-6 months, and that was one of the best decisions I made. I tried out a bunch of gacha games throughout the year, and out of all the gacha games I played, BrownDust 2 is the only one that really stuck with me. Starting off with how I got into it, well, I saw the Summer Eclipse design. I saw that get revealed, and I was immediately like, well, this is the game for me for sure. And I also heard a lot of great things about it. I heard a lot of good things about being able to get the characters that you want, you know, how generous the game was, and how incredibly well designed the other characters were. So then I went ahead and researched. I saw a video about all the skill cutscenes that were present in the game at the time, and I was just completely shocked about what they were able to make, because they were just so, you know, they were so revealing, so fun, so exciting. I was like, this is in an actual waifu gacha game, and I never thought they would ever go that far, but BrownDust 2 devs went that far, and I really appreciate that. Of course, when I started playing the game, I started seeing all these other incredibly well-designed characters. We got Nebris. which I completely fell in love with. Nebris and Eclipse are my favorite 2 characters in this game, followed by Lowen. Like, I love their designs, and they have such incredible personalities to complement their designs, which is what I really love about, waifu collectors like this. They're able to still, give us these very attractive, very voluptuous, or, very thick, waifu designs, while still giving us, a unique personality with them that we can immediately attach to them. Like, oh, this is how this character acts. It's similar to, Goddess of Victory Nikke. They do a really good job with balancing, personality with character design. And same thing with Azure Lane. Out of the three games, I really love. I love them all very equal. I love them equally for different reasons. I love BrownDust 2. I love the Goddess of Victory Nikke, and I love Azure Lane. These 3 games are an absolute staple. I've been playing Nikke and Azure Lane for a while now at this point, and I never thought I'd add another gacha game to my, roster of gacha games. I thought, oh, those 2 are enough. But then I gave BrownDust 2 an opportunity. I gave it a chance, and it's incredible, really. The skill cutscenes, like I said, are they're at a different level. What else is there to talk about? This actual art style of the overworld, I guess. So like the actual maps. So some people aren't a big fan of this. I kind of like it, actually. I like the HD 2D aspect of this game. Reminds me of Triangle Strategy, which I'm a big fan of. So I'm glad that the devs seem to have taken some sort of inspiration from them. So I'm a big fan of that. I like how generous this game is. Lots of pulls. Whenever I open up this game, in my inbox is at least 1 pull, 1, 2, maybe 3 pulls. Sometimes a 10 pull. Just throw it in there. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know what I did, but I'll take it, Lots of opportunities to pull for characters you want, and they're very generous about it. I really like that free daily pull. That's really come in handy more times than I can count, for sure. There is an issue with the male characters. I've already mentioned this. I'm not a big fan of how they're still stuck in the banners, but I get that they don't want to remove them from the game because they're such a core aspect of some of the story elements, so they don't want to remove them from the banners. I get that, so I'm not a big fan of it. It's one of the reasons I almost didn't try this game, but I'm happy I did give this game an opportunity, just because they've only ever released waifu characters this entire past year. They've already stated they have no intention on releasing any more male characters, so I don't mind it as much. Would I prefer they were not in the game? Sure, but I'm still happy with what they went ahead with, and I'm glad that they still produce these really incredibly well designed, female characters. But guys, that's really it. There's so much more I could talk about. Oh, interaction mode. Actually, let me go ahead and talk about interaction mode. This is so well done. I made a whole video where I break it down and I go through an in-depth analysis on like, here's some hidden interactions, and this is crazy that this is their first time making interaction mode. I'm really looking forward to Morphe's and Lowen's, especially Lowen's. I love Lowen. She's my 3rd favorite character in the game, so I have high hopes for Lowen's skill or not skill cutscene. Well, we already know her skill cutscene. It's incredible. Definitely check that out. But her interaction mode, especially considering how great Nebris was, I can only imagine what they're going to do with Lowen. I don't even know what they'll do. Apparently, the original plan was we were going to get all 3 of them together this month, but because of how packed this month was, they had to delay the other 2, which I'm okay with. Gives us time to get hyped about it and build up that hype. I'm really excited, guys. So that's really it for this part of the tangent. I'll go ahead and continue with the rest of the video and close off this video. But wow, BrownDust 2 can cook. That's all I can say. They can cook for sure. Overall, if you're even slightly interested in BrownDust 2, give it a try now. We're currently in the 1.5 year anniversary, so there are tons of free pulls being given out by the developers, and so many incredibly designed waifus to pull for with very strong kits. I always hear people ask, when is the best time to start a gacha game? And the answer is always right now. Start playing to build up your pulls to get the characters that you love. I hope you guys found this video informative, and I plan to do a Nikke version of this video very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're interested, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.